I love Good Will Hunting a lot, so much so that I considered doing an episode of The Armchair Proofs for it, but I don't know how much I'm going to be doing the movie review thing going forward. It took me a long time to figure out what I really liked about it, why it stuck with me so strongly, but I think I've got it now. It makes one simple distinction in its finale slash theme slash whatever you want to call it, where most things stop just shy of the mark, and that is the difference between good and better. What do I mean by that, you ask? I'm so glad you did convenient straw man I used to prop up my message. The same thing I always mean. Character. We tend to look at a character's development in finite terms. Here's the beginning, the middle, the end, and that's not the case. Yes, they're little slices of fiction, that is to say the definitionally unreal, but they feel real and so in a way are. Real people don't grow on a finite scale. We learn, regress, attempt, fail, and succeed on a literally daily basis that is rarely as tidy as fiction allows. When we watch a character's journey, we're zooming in on a segment of their life where they learn a specific lesson or they don't. The segment has a beginning, middle, and end, but unless they lose the somebody needs to die to trigger the scene plottery, the character will theoretically continue to live on past that point. In our minds, they will continue to learn and regress and try. It bugs me to varying degrees depending on how well the story compensates for it when a tidy bow is placed on the end of a story because it implies that the character is done changing. Now, I'm not saying stories that do this are bad. Don't hear what I'm not saying. I mean that a character who learns their lesson and then never slips up again is unrealistic, making it that much harder to connect with them once they've cleared their obstacle. This is also partially why some characters grow stale. They have nothing left to contribute to the narrative except maybe to be an example for another character, yet the writer insists on keeping them around out of sheer favor. More than this, it's just a lie. Perhaps the biggest lie fiction can sell. A story usually frames its central character on a black and white pass-fail grading system. Did they learn the lesson? I don't care for that solution because it implies that people can be wholly good even if it's only in one area. If you legitimately believe that a person can be perfectly good, then you need a kind of help I can't provide. If anything, we're wholly bad, which can be true, but this system sells the you didn't learn as a you will never learn, there is no possibility of redemption now. Nuts to that. I reject that hypothesis point blank. So what are we talking about here? Either there is no magic point of nirvana where you simply don't have the problem anymore, or everyone who ever lived with one very notable exception is a lost cause. I would say there's a clear winner. Wouldn't you? Before I do that thing where I tie my ideas back into my example, I want to clarify something. I've made a point in previous videos out of the fact that objective right and wrong exist. I don't want to confuse the concept that people are not good or bad with the idea that actions aren't good or bad. Individuals take a mix of good and bad actions based on how developed a certain principle is in their head, which is where complexity comes from. But the morality of the action itself doesn't shift. Pragmatism be hanged. Okay, back to Will. He goes on his journey of self-discovery, has his dam-breaking moment of catharsis, and it seems like that's the end of it, right? Except it obviously isn't, otherwise I wouldn't be doing this video. He hasn't reached the end of his path. He's opened the gate for moving forward on it, but he has a lot of crap left to figure out, and he knows this. He still grows in serious ways over the story, but the script isn't pretending that he's a finished work. That's what sets it a cut above. When we part ways with Will driving down the road to find Skylar, he's ready to face what he doesn't know, as opposed to going on with some infallible knowledge. He hasn't become good, per se, but he has become better, and is setting off to become better still. When you assume that you have learned all you can on a subject, you close yourself off to additional growth. We can tell that Will is off to better things because he understands a concept that each and every person who watches can apply. You cannot become good, but you can become a little better each day, and honestly, I find that to be a far more encouraging thought. Point of all this being, I think Matt Damon is secretly a super genius.